everybody. Welcome to another edition of PoCommunity. I'm Mike Garboy, and I'm sitting here with Julia Clissold from Fitness with Julia.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's good. Thanks so much for having me, Mike.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It has.
We've known each other a long time, but it's been a long time since I've seen you. So it's nice to see you today.
Yeah, good to see you.
Tell us about Fitness with Julia. How did you get involved in fitness?
Oh, so it's it's been a long time coming. So fitness growing up was something that I hated. I was one of those kids that would look for any reason not to do PE class, was not into the traditional method of fitness. But growing up, I was a dancer. I was involved in cheerleading. So I found that there were ways out there to be active that were fun and that motivated me to want to move my body rather than being like, oh, you want me to run around the block 4 times? I'm so not into it. So as I grew up, as I got older, it was a struggle to find a way to stay active and stay healthy. So my background, I've experienced the weight gain. I've experienced the injuries. So as I was trying to start my own fitness journey, I was getting very frustrated with how there was a lack of group fitness opportunities for people who liked a little bit of everything. And I was also frustrated with just finding people who understood where I was at in my journey. Because when you meet fitness professionals, a lot of the time they got those chiseled abs. They have the fitness pro look, but they don't necessarily always understand the struggles. So Zumba was actually my first introduction to the world of adult fitness beyond just what we do as kids. So it got me into the dance cardio style of it. I became a Zumba instructor. I taught classes, and then I eventually actually had opened my own business in New Westminster. I'd been running Vive de Vita Fitness for just over a year, and it was a group fitness studio that had all different types of fitness. There was Zumba, Pound, we had Pyo, we had HIIT boot camp classes, bar classes, adult ballet, yoga. It was amazing. So adults who are looking for a way to get fun fitness in their life could come to a one-stop shop and try a bit of everything. So after that, once the studio closed, I kind of ventured off and just continued to do my own stuff. So I've been instructing with the city of Coquitlam as a group fit instructor since 2017. And then I became a personal trainer, and I've now been running online programs and personal training through the Tri-Cities and Port Coquitlam. So
That's nice. So yeah, like you said, when you're a kid, the standard PE class, there's a lot of people that just either loved it or hated it. There wasn't many floaters in the class. So you said Zumba was the first thing that really got you just into it, right? How has that industry, how big has that industry gotten? It's gotten pretty big in the last.
Oh yeah, so Zumba took off, but I find that there's a lot of group fitness styles that have captured audiences because they're fun. It's exercise in disguise. You're not really thinking about, oh, I have to do all these repetitions. It becomes fun when you're following along and you're dancing. Or another format I teach is called Pound, which combines drumming and fitness together. So it's my personal favorite because being a drummer for 20 years, finding a fitness class where you get to drum is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
So I find that it has really taken off because for the people who haven't been active in a while and they're looking to kind of get back into an active lifestyle, group fitness is kind of like the gateway drug of the fitness world in a way, because it gets you in, it's safe, it's fun, you're moving your body, but then it starts to get you craving more. And that's why with what I do, I've taken that group fitness and it's kind of like a feeder program for people to be able to get more active and find the more traditional style. So I've got a lot of people who started with group fitness with me and other personal training clients, or they're doing my online programs because they saw how effective the group fitness was and wanted to keep going and started realizing how much stronger they were getting and more confident. So it kind of set the foundation for them to be able to thrive in the traditional fitness environment.
Yeah, it's pretty hard joining a gym if you're fresh or new to fitness or your fitness journey, and you go to a gym and there's just jacked people everywhere.
Yeah.
I know I come from the wrestling industry, so that's an industry where it's a lot of people in crazy shape. Not all authentic, right? Obviously, but
some have had help.
Some have had help, yeah. But I know with that industry, things like CrossFit have picked up huge just because it's a little easier on the body than weightlifting. Weightlifting, if you're especially wanting to be that big, it can be tense, especially if you're moving constantly, trying to be athletic but build muscle. If you're not stretching properly, and a lot of them aren't. A lot of people don't stretch before they go for a workout. So I think what actual group workouts almost teach you more ins and outs of actual the fitness industry, because you can watch and see other people how they do things, and if you're new to it, it's less intimidating.
Exactly. It's kind of the safety in numbers feeling. So from my years teaching at my own studio and with the city, one of my favorite things is to see people coming in on day one and they're kind of afraid, they're held back. They're like, oh, I don't want to make a fool of myself. I don't want to look silly. I'm not fit enough. I can't do this. They've got all these limiting beliefs in their head of the things that they can't do and the reasons why this isn't going to work. And then over time, you see them come out of their shell and they start to get more comfortable, more confident, and they're learning the foundations of safe movement patterns. When you're in a group environment, every class starts with a warm up, every class ends with a stretch. So it's kind of being instilled from the get go that this is how you do a workout. You warm up and then you stretch at the end. And having someone there coaching you along, correcting you. So making sure that if your form's not quite right, if you're putting your body in a position where it might endanger you or it might harm you, you've got someone there to correct you. So it's just really good positive reinforcement that it doesn't seem intimidating the same way as when a personal trainer is standing over you. Because if you've never stepped foot in a gym, then you've got someone telling you what to do, it's a little scary. But when you've got all those people around you and you're all in the same boat and you've all started on that first day feeling a little unsure, you kind of just find your place. You get lost in the crowd, but you still have that stability of the coach and the network of people there to help you. So group fitness is definitely like the number one fitness form for me. Like I love doing the one-on-one clients. I love doing my programs, but group fitness is where it started. And that's kind of the feeling that I try to give to every client I work with. Even if they're not taking a group fit class, that's my approach to everything that I do.
Yeah, because that one-on-one, the mentality to an outside person, it's almost that drill sergeant.
Yeah.
Like it's intimidating. It's not what, especially an introverted person that is just it's almost weird that almost group workouts could be better for an introverted person than that one-on-one where it's really in your face. And it's not like saying everybody's in your face. Everybody is a different style of personal trainer, and there is a personal trainer for everyone, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But it's like, some people I know, like, that would take them away, deter them from a gym for life if they were screamed at.
Yeah, exactly. And I've heard horror stories from people I've worked with where they're like, oh, this one time I worked with a trainer and they felt that if I wasn't at the verge of getting sick by the end of my workout, I wasn't pushing myself hard enough. So like as a trainer myself, I'm sitting there like, oh no, that's not how we want people to feel. We want them to fall in love with moving their body out of love, not because they hate it or all they see is their imperfections. But it definitely is a scary experience when you work with someone for the first time because you're being vulnerable. You don't necessarily know if that person's going to be the drill sergeant or if they're going to take the approach of trying to be friendly and helpful. So for me, I try to keep it real and relatable. If I have struggles, if I royally fail at a lift I'm attempting in the gym, you're going to see me still post the video because like I find with social media, it's so easy to get caught up in everyone's highlight reel of like, oh, I did this crazy weightlifting feat. I benched this much or I deadlifted this much. Like I tried to go for my PR with deadlift. I failed epically. Still posted it because it just shows that like that's part of the journey. You're going to have to stumble. You're going to have to like make mistakes along the way. That's how you improve.
Yeah, I think past generations have always strived for like only releasing perfection all the time. He's like a business owner, motivational speaker, Gary V or Jerry V, I forget his name. He's like one of the top guys doing that, and he's always saying like put out content. Never wait till it's perfect because then you'll never put out content.
Yeah.
Just put out anything with flaws, anything, because it's real life. And people right now especially are really connecting to real life. With this podcast that we're doing here, what I see is people are interested in more about the person than exactly what they do for a living.
Yeah.
They want to know the person before they invest in that person.
Exactly.
Right? And it's just the times we're in.
Yeah.
I know you. I've known you for a long time. You're very bubbly. So it's a very good person to be around at a gym, especially for someone who is extremely intimidated. And I know tons of people that like never step foot in the gym because of that reason.
Yeah. And that's kind of what has broken my heart because, I mean, there's so many people who have had those negative experiences or have talked themselves into expecting a negative experience that they don't try it. So, I mean, from working in the fitness industry and also even before I got into the fitness industry, just my own experiences, I will not name the gym, but I remember signing up for a gym. And this is back before I knew anything about fitness. So I was fresh in. It was intimidating. I didn't know how any of the machines worked. I was looking to the staff to help me. They had this transformation package that sounded great. So I signed up for it. Me and my friend were like, we're going to be gym buddies. We're going to do this. We go into the consultation. We're like, well, we kind of want to do a little bit of weight loss. Like, what do you recommend? Because it was supposed to be like healthy eating and the gym, which is like the combination that makes magic happen. So we go into this session and their advice was go on the celery diet. And I was like, oh, this is bad news. Like at that point, I wasn't really in the industry, but I already knew, like, if you're telling me to only eat celery, I don't know if this is going to be good. But yeah, it was like smoke cigarettes because they help burn calories and then go on the celery diet. It was like the information coming to us was just so wrong. So that ended quickly. And that was where I really started going, okay, if I'm struggling to find how to start my own fitness journey and this is the professional help I'm getting, like something's wrong. And I'm going to make it my mission to make sure that any other woman I come into contact with, any other person, that this is not their first experience. So I'm kind of on like, I guess, a one woman mission to make sure that everyone who comes to me or has come into contact with me, that they have that incredible first time experience. Because I've seen it all. I've experienced it myself, the frustration, the kind of anguish of wanting to change and not knowing how, not feeling empowered, not feeling confident, and just having people kind of beat you down when you're already down. Like starting a fitness journey is freaking hard, and people need to recognize that if you simply got up and went for a 20-minute walk, that's a big deal. You don't go, oh, it was only 20 minutes. You only did it once this week. It's like, no, that's freaking awesome. You did a walk you didn't normally do. Like, there you go.
Yeah, it's just the motivation. I don't think we get enough of it. Like especially now with COVID. I'll say the C word. The COVID. It really just, you only hear the negative. Yeah. So like all we hear is the negative of the numbers, and it's just like, you people aren't being good enough, blah blah blah, and it's just like, it's not going to motivate you. No. It's almost longer it goes, the more people are just like, you're going to say it anyways. I don't give a shit anymore. Yeah. And it's just not good. I know a lot of gyms that I've been into in the past that are they try to save money on their in-house personal trainers, because it's just like they're hourly instead of by bookings and stuff, so they'll hire cheap that way and not really get somebody who's qualified. And then, but the real great personal trainers, the ones that like are doing it on themselves, they'll jump from gym to gym. It doesn't really, they're not held to that, right? Yeah. But I know when I was young, and I was always into athletics, but I was into wrestling and I wanted to learn how to bodybuild. And I would go to some gyms and they're literally, they didn't know what they were doing.
No, it's scary. And that's the thing. Like, my advice to anyone who's looking into fitness is it's kind of on you to do your research, because not all gyms are equal. There are amazing gyms out there, and there are gyms that are maybe not as great. Ultimately, all gyms are still good because they help people get healthy, but it's just, you have to do your research to understand, like, okay, who am I entrusting with my health and wellness? Like, what are their credentials? And I mean, in the world of social media right now, every second person on Instagram seems to be a fitness influencer or a online coach. But then when you dig into it, it's like, where are your certifications? How do you know what you know? How are you qualified to teach? So that's why I've always really valued being a part of the city of Coquitlam's fitness team, because like, if you're part of one of the municipal fitness teams, there are certain check boxes that you have to tick. You have to have a certain level of knowledge. You have to have BCRPA accreditation to be able to work with them. So when people are looking into working with a trainer, just make sure you've done your research. Like, make sure that these trainers are certified. Make sure that they've at least done some of the training. Because I mean, you'll find a lot of people, and I see it a little bit more in the bodybuilding world, that people have gone through their own transformation, and because what they did worked for them, they think it'll work for everybody else. So it's not, and fitness isn't a one size fits all. Just because that person had success doing this program doesn't mean person number 2 is going to have the same results. So each person's different.
Everybody's different. I mean, I know people that they can eat whatever they want, and they can go to the gym 3 days a week, maybe, and they look incredible. And then there's some people that literally have to watch what they eat daily and go to the gym to lose any weight. It's not one or the other. It's your metabolisms. Everybody's different. So you need to find those personal trainers that know that. Yeah. That know that they maybe do a few sessions with you and realize this way we're going to go with this way because this isn't really working for you. Yeah. And you City of Coquitlam, are you up at Poirier? So
I'm at all the rec centers.
all the rec centers, 'cause, yeah,
When you're
Poirier.
in with City of Coquitlam, you pop up everywhere.
Yeah, because I used to go to Poirier when
Yeah.
I lived in Coquitlam, and I love that facility.
Yeah.
I love the staff there. I just love that facility. It was great equipment. And yeah, like working for the city, like you said, you need those
Yeah.
qualifications. You need to know what you're doing. And yeah, I always had good experiences. I always saw once I got further along in fitness, I always saw them helping, like
Yeah.
always helping other people that were new to it. I
Yeah.
was always a morning person, so
Right
there's
on.
always a lot of older people that are up early,
Yeah.
and they're starting their fitness journey in their
Yeah.
60s, and it was always help, no
Yeah.
matter what. There was always help. You go to some, I won't name, like you won't name the gym. Some of them are just brutal. Like you have 6 personal trainers standing there, not just talking to each other, not
Yeah.
helping one person.
Yeah, and that's where like there are great gyms that are profit making gyms, but one thing that I've always loved when people are asking me like, okay, I want to get started at a fitness facility, would you recommend? The local rec centers are such a great resource and great place to start, just because a city is run kind of like a not for profit. So when you have people coming into the fitness department, their goal is not, okay, how much money can we get you locked into for a contract for a year, or how much can we get you looped into for personal training? When you walk into a municipal run fitness facility, it's you are here to get healthy. How can we help you get healthy? It's not the what can we sign you up for? What can we upsell you on? What can we do? It's just facilitating fitness, which is kind of the backbone of what I do. Because I mean, yes, I'm running my own business. I'm trying to make a living off of fitness, but it still stems from that we need to make fitness accessible for everyone. We also need to understand that each person's needs are going to be different. Like when I look at my clients, I've got some clients that are going for weight loss. I've got others that are looking to simply get more definition as they gain weight. I've got clients who are looking for functional fitness because as they age, they want to enter their senior years feeling confident and being able to get up and down and not have all the creaks and cracks as they move their joints. So it's just finding ways to make sure that your goals are met. Because the other thing is we get so fixated on weight loss. Like that kind of goes synonymously with a fitness journey is 9 out of 10 times you go, oh, you're starting a fitness journey. How much weight have you lost? Or what's your goal weight? We're so fixated on weight, when there's so much more. Like starting your fitness journey, it's good for your whole body. I mean, it's going to help you cognitively. It improves your bone density. It helps your brain. It helps your heart. There's really no downside to being a healthy person. I have yet to find one.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a negative to being healthy, but the thing is that when we focus on just weight loss, we miss all the other things. Like when I start off any client or any person in a program with me, it's always, how are you feeling? It's not how many inches have you lost or this or that. It's just still take progress photos, because one day when you've reached whatever your hypothetical goal was, you're going to be happy you've had markers along your way. But it's always, how do you feel? Or do you have more energy? Are you sleeping better? Are you noticing your complexion has improved? Oh, your kid's running away down the street. You didn't get winded chasing them. That's a win too. So it's focusing more on non-scale victories and realizing that like fitness is not just about the aesthetic part of it.
Yeah, and I'm a man, but I know like fitness with women, that's especially is always weight loss,
Yeah.
weight loss, and it's finally moving forward in time, which should have been a long time ago when it comes to women in the weight room. Like it's always been such a masculine thing to lift weights, but and then women were almost scared of doing it because they thought, oh, I'm just gonna get bulky, when in reality that's not the truth at all.
No. Yeah, no, definitely. And that's a huge misconception, because whenever I do fitness consultations, anyone who wants to work with me, I jump on a Zoom call just to get to know them and what they want. And it's always, I want to get more definition, but I don't want to have man arms, or I don't want to get bulky. And I'm like, girl, trust me, to get to that point, it's going to take a lot of time. You don't accidentally turn into a bodybuilder. But it's just kind of funny to see people's misconceptions about weightlifting. And you bring up a good point where the weight rooms have been male dominated for a long time. And I mean, I'm kind of, as part of my mission to get everybody healthy, is I love empowering women by getting them under a barbell. Because half the time they're like, oh, I'm using my 8-pound weights at home, which great, nothing wrong with that. But then as they get stronger and stronger, they're afraid to go heavier. So I've got a lot of clients I work with in person I train out of Iron Raven Fitness here in Poco. That's where I do my live training. Fantastic facility. Shout out to Iron Raven. You're great. Thank you, Joe. But when I've got my clients there, one of my favorite things is to go, okay, this is where you were when you started. This is what you're doing now. You're ready to try a heavier weight. And it's just making sure that they understand that it's safe to do. It's a progressive journey. It's not like we're just jumping under a barbell. But the moment that they get under that Olympic bar that they've never touched in their life and do a squat or do a deadlift, and they're like, holy crap, I just joined the kind of like the boys club. Like I am into the heavy stuff, and realizing that it's not that scary, unattainable thing. And it's actually super empowering to be able to do that.
Yeah, like, I know it's on this, even on something like Instagram.
Yeah.
Over the past, I'd say 5 years, just women are finally getting into that industry. You're seeing more and more squat racks. You're seeing more and more just lifting weights, because lifting weights it's amazing what it could do for you.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's light with multiple repetitions or if it's heavy.
Yeah.
Obviously there's a way to build muscle, but there's ways of just toning it as well. Right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm glad to see.
Yeah.
I right now I'm definitely in a trying to rebuild myself mode. I was in much better shape for many years, and then quit wrestling, replaced gym with cheesecake.
Oh, fair enough.
I was at gym. I Anytime Fitness, actually. I was there 7 days a week in Coquitlam.
Yeah.
Before I moved to Maple Ridge, and then literally went from every day of the week to maybe down to 3 to 0, and now finally I'm back in. But it is tough.
It is.
It's tough when you hit your 30s. I'm telling you, like, you're 30 now, right?
Yeah, just turned 32 on Friday.
No, obviously,
32.
Yeah, obviously you are. I forgot that you're not that much younger than me. But
Welcome to 30.
But it's amazing how literally your metabolism just all of a sudden I'm one of those people that couldn't eat whatever I wanted to, but as long as I went to the gym, I kind of could do what I want.
Yeah.
And then I'd say 28 hit, and it was like, no, you can go to the gym 5 days a week. You have to eat clean. Maybe you can have a cheat day a week or something, but it's tough.
It is. And it's funny how we totally took it for granted when we were younger. Like when you're in your prime, like early 20s, and you can kind of like abuse your body. It's like you're clubbing, you're eating all the good food, and you're like, this is no problem. It's like, oh man, imagine what I could have accomplished if I was treating my body better. So it's just, but with aging, I mean, it's all, it can be managed. It's hard. It's not easy. Like fitness, if you think it's going to be a walk in the park, I mean, it can be a struggle. But it's just that balance of input versus output where you don't have to have those crazy restrictions. You don't have to be on the like rice, chicken, broccoli diet every day to see progress. Like if you want to eat your cheesecake, you can eat your cheesecake. It's just what else are you eating throughout the rest of the day? So it's always just what I preach to anyone who works with me or whenever we're talking fitness, it's always like you just have to make one small change at a time. Even if you've gone from something like 7 days a week in the gym and then you pare it back and you're like, oh, this is so hard to get back in 7 days a week, pare it back, make smaller adjustments where it's like, okay, my goal is for the next month, I'm going to go to the gym once a week. Once you do that, add in another change, add in another, or like start making healthy swaps where you're like, okay, for dinner, I normally have, say, like a burger and fries. It's like, tonight I'm going to have a burger and salad. So it's as you start making those small changes without dramatically restricting the things you love, it starts to train your brain more. And it becomes a little bit easier, because if I was like, I need you to go to the gym 7 days a week and never eat cheesecake again, Mike, would you do that?
No.
It would be hard. But if I was like, have cheesecake when you feel like it, but not every day, and try to go to the gym once a week, probably do it, right?
Yeah. So, it's how it's jumping into things. Everybody wants instantaneous results. That's the problem, is everybody literally wants to take a fat burner or something and then expect to lose 30 pounds in a week. And it's not, and even more so now, like if I got on a fat burner, it would take a while for that fat burner to really kick in. You have to be good with them, and everybody wants that magic. Yeah. I mean, it was easier 20 years ago because they like obviously found out what's unhealthy for people. So they've taken what works out, but it's for a reason. You don't want to look healthy in your 20s, 30s, so you die in your 40s because you're taking all these supplements that are terrible for you.
Exactly.
Right?
It's just achieving balance and being conscious of what we put into our bodies. Because I mean, the other thing, I've worked in the fitness industry. I've also worked in the supplement industry, and it's amazing the things that get put on the shelves that we think are healthy, that are labeled healthy, but it's actually got chemicals in it. Like, we're pumping our bodies through full of things that are maybe not meant to be there. So like, especially those fat burners, I'm like, if there's a pill that says it's going to make me lose weight, like, that seems too good to be true. So probably is. I mean, like, finding ways to just achieve balance sets you up for the long term, because you can't be on a pill for the rest of your life that's going to manage your weight. I mean, yes, there are definitely prescription medications that some people need, et cetera, but like, magic weight loss pills, just balance and healthy living, it far outweighs it. Like, you're going to have that long, happy life that way.
Yeah, 100%. I'll bring up the C word again. COVID, and like how the fitness industry has been impacted by it.
Yeah.
I know I talked to a guy who ran a gym. He closed down.
Yeah.
Just because it's not only is it the numbers have gone down, but it's a bit of a headache with the restrictions and like how they were changing in the beginning of COVID, especially just like every week it seemed like there's different rules being put into place. And as a gym owner, that's like just brain screw. So how's it affected you? Because I know for me, I am going to the gym again, but the masks, not that I'm anti-mask, it is so difficult to do cardio in a mask. Like, it is. I wonder what's gonna happen after COVID, if there's gonna be lawsuits of people fainting on equipment and stuff. Because
oh, geez. So COVID, I mean, my experience, and people are probably going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but COVID has actually been nothing but good stuff for me, fitness-wise. When COVID first started, I was still working a corporate marketing job. I wasn't overly happy doing my corporate marketing job, but that was kind of like what I was doing. I was still teaching my group fitness classes. I was still involved in fitness, but after I'd closed my group fit studio back in 2017, I'd gone back into marketing. So when COVID hit, I don't think anybody expected the fallout of what has actually come. I think we all thought it was just gonna be like, oh, 2 weeks and then life's back to normal. Joke's on us. But I remember as soon as COVID started, I was working from home. I felt isolated, and I was like, this was like, I think day 2, because I'm a very social person, or prior to COVID, I was a very social person. So it's like seeing people every day. I would be going and like rocking multiple group fitness classes, having rooms full of like 30 people taking classes with me. And then when all of a sudden it just stops, it was really sad and really hard. And I was struggling, and I was the instructor. So I was sitting there thinking, all the people that used to come, like, these were kind of like their social gatherings, but they're a thing that they would do. Like, they would look forward to the night that they got to go and do their boot camp, or when they got to come do pounds. So I'm like, okay, who knows how long this COVID thing's going to happen? The rec centers got shut down. I had never known how to do virtual classes before, but I'm like, I've got a Zoom account, so let's just try doing fitness on Zoom. So I started offering just classes for free or by donation. And it caught on. So for the first bit of COVID, it was just people were attending virtual classes. It was obviously not the same as in person, but it got people moving, and it definitely helped me, like, mental health wise. If I didn't have fitness during COVID, I probably would have become an axe murderer. So it was definitely helpful. So I started with the virtual fitness, and it was kind of fun because we're now into the second year of COVID now. And I'm getting the memories popping up on Facebook where I'm like, oh, 1 year ago, I taught my first virtual Zumba class. Like, didn't think anyone else would think to do virtual. Silly me. Everybody did virtual, but like, it was kind of the first wave of the virtual classes. So I'd offered that. And then when we started to see that, okay, this is going to be for the long run, that's when I was like, okay, people need something to motivate them. Gyms are closed. Equipment is scarce. Like, I remember people trying to buy dumbbells, and it's like 5-pound dumbbells were costing like $200. Let's not ever go back to that part of COVID. But so I decided, like, you know what, I'm just gonna facilitate fitness the way I know how, which is just helping people. So I created a 12-week workout program. It's called Work It Girl. It's still around today. It's kind of like my signature program that started the Fitness with Julia adventure. So it was a 12-week program that took people from being like a complete beginner, having never stepped foot in a gym or maybe never done traditional exercise, through a progressive 12-week program that by the end of it, they were confident enough to try doing things like push-ups or burpees. So it was pretty cool. And the way I designed it was I gave them an equipment guide where I'm like, here's what you want. You need to use a dumbbell. Or if you don't have a dumbbell, here's all the different ways you can make a dumbbell at home. Like, people got really creative. I had people using like olive oil jars, like it was crazy, but that was kind of what started it. And as COVID progressed, my job was affected. When I was working in marketing, I was doing all corporate events, which were all canceled due to COVID. So eventually in the early fall, my job finally, I was laid off. And I, instead of going, oh crap, I lost my job due to COVID, I went, yes, now I have all the time I've been complaining I didn't have to focus more on my fitness stuff. So the Work It Girl program was a great success. I had about 30 women come through the first time, and I still am having more join in here and there. I've got an online fitness community on Facebook. It's my little VIP community where all these people are still just getting ongoing coaching. As the rec centers opened back up, they were figuring out how to facilitate classes safely. So I was still able to do virtual classes and then some back in person. I must say it was very weird going from 30 people in a room down to like 10 people on little spots that were painted and being like, okay, on the count of 3, everybody take your mask off and then we'll get started. Like, it felt weird, but it's been a lot of adjustment and pivoting and changing. But I think for me, COVID has kind of made me a better instructor and a better trainer because it takes out the things we take for granted. Like being able to be in person coaching and training people, you're able to touch, you're able to like explain and show and demonstrate. When you're doing it just through a computer screen, it makes it a lot harder. Like I've got virtual training clients where I'm doing a personal training session for them one-on-one. They're at their home, I'm at my home, and I'm having to sometimes explain them or walk them through how to do an exercise for the first time. I'm having to correct their form without being able to be like, oh, this part of your back here, squeeze you. So it's definitely made me a better coach, I think. But yeah, otherwise COVID, I think it's had all positive impact for my fitness business because without COVID, I probably wouldn't have made my 12-week program. I probably wouldn't have taken the leap of faith and gone full time into fitness because I would have had my marketing job. I wouldn't have been brave enough to just be like, peace out, secure paycheck. It's time to just go and take another risk. So it's been an adventure, but I mean, with the safety measures in place and with just following the provincial health orders, it's been manageable. Like the gym that I train out of, they are amazing with COVID. They limit it to just 8 people at a time, which is like in a gym, 8 people is not a lot of people. No. So everyone's masked up and you sometimes get people complaining about wearing the masks in the gym, but I think for the most part, they understand that it's like, if the mask is what allows me to be here in person training, I'll do it. Yeah. So it's like everyone's had to make small sacrifices, but I don't look at COVID as being quite as bad from my side of the fence, I guess. Yeah. For all the gym owners out there, I definitely did a look in the mirror. I'm like, okay, I used to be sad that my group fitness studio closed, but holy cow, trying to imagine the logistics of pivoting my old business into all online with all the restrictions, like I think that would have shut me down if it was still around. So like all those gym owners that have managed to stay afloat, like, yeah, I'm impressed. That's not an easy feat. And to the ones that weren't, I mean, it's heartbreaking. No one ever expected us to be in this situation. So
people it's people that have adapted. Some of them have adapted well, and it worked for them. Some tried to adapt, and it just for their business model, it doesn't work. It's hard to sell gyms to people when they're scared of this stuff. I mean, they are picking up. My gym always has people in it. Like there's always, and I don't ever see people really complaining about wearing masks. No. Because they're there, like you said, they're happy to be there. It's just more of the what workouts people are doing, because like there's a whole section of cardio equipment that just stays pretty much empty because it's a little bit different, lifting weights or stretching, doing any kinds of exercises compared to full on cardio.
Exactly.
I literally can do half the amount of time, same speed on the treadmill, but half the amount of time that I usually can do because I'm just
And it's hard, like now that the restrictions have lifted a bit more, because like with the cities, they were able to open and then they had to close again kind of around December. But now it's open again. And I'm one of the very lucky instructors that I currently do have a live fitness class. I'm like, oh my gosh, teaching live people. This is great. But it is very different. The provincial order says like, okay, if you've got these people coming in for your class, you're not allowed to elevate your heart rate beyond this amount. You're not allowed to do cardio. There's a lot of restrictions on what you can't do because that's what spreads the aerosols. So it's definitely been a bit of a change coming to an hour-long group fitness class and being like, okay, we're going to warm you up, and not being able to have the loud music, not being able to have that same energy as we used to, and having to find a new way to have like quiet energy, and like getting them nice and warm where you want to get the heart rate up, but being like, we can only get it up so much, and we can only do so much. Like, oh, don't go too fast because that qualifies as cardio. So it's been an adjustment. But again, when I first started teaching the live class, I was told, no cardio allowed. Like, you can't do jumping jacks, no burpees, no this, no that. I'm like, people are gonna hate this. No one has said a thing. They are just so happy and thankful to be able to come together as a group of people and work out. It's amazing. And I mean, with the online stuff, if you want to go and get crazy and like do your crazy burpees and jump around, like, go online. I'll do that online. I mean, it's just me and a computer screen, and that's what people get that way. It's just the live aspect of it.
Yeah.
Which I'm optimistic that as the seasons change and as outdoor fitness can start coming back where it's not rainy and cold all the time, I think we're going to see a lot more high intensity outdoor stuff.
Yeah, especially with like outdoor restrictions kind of being lifted and stuff. And I mean, we'll see where we're at in the summer when it is nice out, because I mean, we're supposed to have the vaccines. Everybody's supposed to be, every age group is supposed to have at least their first vaccination by then. So let's hope we can get back to normality. But it did positive for you, like it made you jump full force into something, and that's happened to a lot of people. It's funny that you said that dumbbells were going for that much, because the same thing was happening with like podcasting equipment and stuff, because everybody's at home and they're starting their side hustles, just like, I don't have anything to do, so I'll just try a podcast. And we're like opening this place up, and I'm trying to find equipment, and I can't find it anywhere unless it's triple the price.
Oh yeah. It was amazing the things that became hot commodities. Like, I used to joke with people being like, if I ever got into the stock market, I'd totally invest in toilet paper because it's a commodity that everyone will always need. Totally should have, because like, look at what happened last spring when it's like, I'll pay you like $20 for that roll of toilet paper.
That's so ridiculous.
But yeah, like, just people have been able to pivot pretty well for the most part. I mean, there's definitely been a lot of hard parts of COVID, but once we kind of got past the initial shockwave of COVID, I think it kind of improved. Because I mean, like, now when you look at fitness equipment, you can get everywhere. And like, I've noticed even the availability of like at-home studio type stuff, like the podcast equipment or ring lights. It's like, it's no longer this hunt and fight to get it. It's a little bit more like the new online normal, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, they just needed to, all these different companies didn't know that there was going to be a surge of people buying their product. It's great for them, but they didn't have the shipments ready for the stores to get them again. So it's just like, it's great for them, and it's great that it's there is going to be a positive after it all. There is going to be, like, at least there should be people that really realize what you take for granted in life and what is actually important. And it's been a blessing and a curse, and it's really hard. It's not many in the middle, because it's been a blessing for a lot of people like yourself, where it's like, finally I can step away and I can focus on what I actually love doing. And then other people, like mom and pop businesses, are what really hit me. It's just because unless they have a kid, like their own kid or somebody young that's working for them that understands modern like promotion and marketing and stuff, they, once it hit, especially like restaurants and stuff that relied on just phone calls and stuff, it's like, no, now you got to get on all the DoorDash, the skip the dishes, you got to do all this. You have to pivot your company to it basically online. If you didn't have an online ordering as a restaurant before, you better now. And if you don't, then bye. And it's all those old businesses that you knew just had good reputations from just being there forever, that don't know how to do this. And that's like, this is not easy to so many people, and it's so normal to our generation, and not the younger generations even more so. But yeah, it's just it's crazy how far people are, like, just mentalities like this year, how it's like a roller coaster of emotions, of either positives to negatives, and let's just hope that it just mellows out soon. That's all I have to say. I opened up a business during a pandemic. It's
and you're thriving.
We're trying. I mean, it's we have a great community. We're building an awesome community here, and just the connections we're making of people that are working from home right now. They are, and they want, once this is over, because there's a lot of people that, especially entrepreneurs, like, they can't risk going places because For like I know my parents watch my kid.
Yeah.
They, if you have seniors, your grandparents
Yeah.
watching your children or anything, and they can't risk that. They can't risk. They
Yeah.
let their kids go out, or if they're going into the office to give it to their kid, give it. It's
Yeah.
not. It's a risky time, man.
Exactly. But you touched on a good point about community, because I think, like, as we think of all the positives and the negatives, like the underlying strength that has been I think really beautiful to me is seeing how the computers, wow, the community has come together. Because like you were saying with mom and pop shops, like people have really allowed their kindness to show. So I know there have been so many restaurants and smaller businesses that maybe weren't with the times on social media, etc., but the community could kind of detect their struggles. They realized, oh, this restaurant is amazing and they're struggling and they're not on DoorDash. Like, we're going to use whatever tools we have, a lot of the time is social media, to come together and help promote them and help each other out. And like the amount of kindness I've seen people show towards each other, of just like appreciating everybody is struggling in some way with COVID, and that if there's a way that they can make someone's life easier within their means, they're doing it. Like, that's been an amazing thing. Like with my little fitness community that I've built, like just seeing how each person has kind of become a cheerleader for their friends and family. Like, they took the step on their fitness journey. Now they're going and helping the people around them in their surrounding community. So it really is just a ripple effect of just people's good nature is starting to come out. I mean, of course, there's always the downside of that too. But I think for the most part, people have really stepped up and risen to the occasion of going, COVID sucks for everybody, but let's just, like, rather than wallow in it and be mean to each other, as Bonnie Henry said, it's like being kind to everybody. And it's been amazing watching the community grow and come together, and seeing people's patience and understanding of the current circumstance.
Yeah,
So,
there's a lot of business used to be really cutthroat, and I
yeah.
think it was already kind of changing where people are just more accepting in all aspects of life. But this especially, I find that like companies that might have been like, I'm not gonna use, like, maybe like they're just each other's competition.
Mm-hmm.
They're not helping each other out, but they're not hating on each other.
Yeah.
They will be supportive of one another. It's just, there's plenty of business out there for people. I think a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
are seeing that now. It's just like, people are people. Do you really want to go viciously try to
Yeah.
basically take over another company's clientele or something? Like,
Yeah.
people aren't doing that now. They care about people, and you don't want to be that person that everything's so in the open. If you're a
Yeah.
business owner or anything that wants to be that cutthroat piece of crap,
Yeah.
you're not going to get by in today's times. It's just
Exactly.
not going to happen. So
Exactly.
people are supportive. I have people on this podcast constantly, people in here doing podcasts all the time, and not every one of them are members. If they were, it would be amazing. But it's just, it's what we want to do here is promote community.
Yeah.
It's just like, you make these relationships that no matter what, like, it could come back and do really positive things for you
Yeah.
in the future, just like by reaching out there and trying to help.
Yeah.
That's what we've done for the past year here. You saying you moving your stuff onto Zoom at the beginning of it, and
Yeah.
doing it like by donation or by just to get your name out there and like get people doing
Just
this.
to keep people active. It was like for sanity. It's like,
Yeah.
if you can't afford fitness, I don't care. Come and do it with me. Just move. Be happy. Like, don't let COVID drain you.
And it kept you sane too, right?
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah.
So where can we find you? If somebody wants to go to Fitness with Julia, like, where can we find you?
I'm on social media, so you can find me on Instagram at get.fit.withjulia. I think that's what it is. Well, I'm sure we'll type it out.
I'll put a graphic at the end of this, and I'll make it all proper.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Fitness with Julia, and then I've got my website, fitnesswithjulia.com. So I'm all over the place. You find me at the city rec centers. You find me in the gyms, training, online doing group fitness. So kind of anywhere you can possibly have me give you fitness, I will be.
Nice.
But check out my website. That's probably the best place to find me.
Yeah, usually that's you've got all your little socials on your website as well. Right?
Exactly.
But yeah, I enjoyed you coming in today, Julia. It's been a long time.
I know, like,
but
it's amazing. Decade.
It's amazing how, like, I think I said to you in our LinkedIn chats, like, ages 0 to 17. How long does that feel?
At the time it felt like an eternity, but now it just feels like
Oh yeah,
gone.
you graduate and then you're in your 30s and you're like,
Yeah.
that's literally 0 to 17, or that I'm almost 34.
Yeah.
Turning 34 this year. I graduated at 17. Half my life I've been out of high
I
school.
know.
That blows my mind.
And somehow we learned to be adults. That's the part that's crazy to me. Nobody taught us how to be adults, but we somehow figured it out.
I play adult. I don't
Oh,
really
okay.
do it. I don't really do it. As you can tell, I don't grow up. I have action figure addiction, video game addiction, and
Right on.
I don't ever plan to grow up. It's not fun.
Yeah,
It's not
life's
fun.
too short to not have fun.
Yeah.
And growing up is overrated. Be a child forever at heart.
Yeah, I like what you liked when you were a kid. If you can like cartoons and be an adult.
Exactly. Exactly. Like when I was, it's funny because when I was a little kid, loved pink, got older and it was like, pink's not cool. Now I'm the person, as I'm sure you can see, hot pink's my jam. You find me in the gym, I've got my pink weight clips, pink wrist straps. I've got pink, like every gym accessory you can think of is pink because it's like, life's too short not to have your inner kid have fun.
Yeah, my wife Erin definitely is not that pleased with my tie-dye obsession. I have quite a lot of tie-dye t-shirts and hoodies and stuff. And I think I was ahead of the curve because I'm seeing it everywhere now. Everywhere. And I like literally started rocking it again like 5, 6 years
It's
ago.
what my mom always warned me of. She's like, one day all these things will come back in fashion. I'm like, no, Mom, it totally won't. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, everything from elementary school is now back in fashion. It's like the 80s have been reborn.
All my vintage stuff from when I was a kid, if I still had it, man. I've seen some vintage stores with like Looney Tunes sweaters worth like $400, and it's like I had that sweater.
Yeah.
And I used to, my parents had those clothes, and I just gave it away.
Oh yeah, I went to before COVID. There was a really cool vintage. I think it's still there in New West. There's a really cool vintage shop. I went in there and I bought a concert T-shirt. And it was hilarious because it was vintage. It was worn. And when I got home, I realized I'd been at that concert and I forgot to get a concert shirt. So then I had to buy it in a vintage store.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Julia.
No problem. Thanks for having me. This has been awesome.
If you ever want to do this again, come in. Come use our facilities for anything you're doing. Yeah, it's I'm glad you came in. It's been a long time and feels like yesterday though. So
and I'm glad I was invited so I could check out your super cool facilities because you guys have an amazing project going on here. Like what you're doing for the community is freaking fantastic. So thank you as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
And thank you guys for watching. This has been another episode of PoCommunity. I'm Mike Garboy. She is Julia Clissold. Check out her website. Have a good one.